Hello, and welcome to Socially Holistic Podcast. Socially Holistic helps coaches and holistic entrepreneurs and women in heart-centered businesses make sense of social media so they can build their own online network and get more clients. As a heart-centered business owner, you do amazing work. Holly's mission in life is to help you help more people. Help us help more women in business with a 5-star review of this podcast. Please leave one today over at iTunes. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more heart-centered businesses will be successful. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Socially Holistic Podcast. We are here today with Sofia Barao from Shambhala. Welcome, Sofia.
Hi, Holly. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me today in your show.
Thank you for joining us. Sofia, tell us a little bit about your background and your business.
Well, my business is about working with women and a spiritual, creative way. What I do is that I work with tools such as astrology, oracle cards, Reiki, and of course, creativity, art, because that's what I have been doing since a long time ago. And that has opened new ways of seeing things. And that's how I work with women.
I like that. And your website, you also talk a lot about your holistic approach to life. And it seems that you approach your work with women in a very holistic way as well, kind of combining the energy work with Reiki and the oracle cards and the astrology and the tarot and the art. I think that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, for me, everything is connected. And I don't like to separate things because we live in a world that we already separate a lot of things. So, I like to combine all of that because that's also my experience of life. So, that's how I work today.
I like that because I think so many people who aren't living a life with a holistic focus like to compartmentalize things. You know, it's like they've got their professional life here and then they've got their personal life here and they've got these little boxes for everything. And really, it just doesn't work like that because everything flows over into everything else.
Yeah, we are really living in a world where there's labels everywhere.
Yes.
So, I like to just have one label, a big one, that it's spiritual one. And then, of course, there are tools and ways of approaching our lives. And that's how I see a holistic life.
So tell us a little bit about your business journey. How did you get to where you are today?
Oh, that's a long story. Even though I haven't started a long time ago, I've quit my job at the beginning of this year.
Wow.
At a corporate, thank you. I was working at a corporate company. So in Paris, because I live in between Paris and Portugal. That's how officially has started. But spirituality has always been really major in my life. It all started when my mother died and when I was 12, and then that has raised some questions within me. And from that, I studied a lot, and all through the jobs that I have done that are not spiritual at all, they were not spiritual at all. Even though, I worked at a humanitarian for an NGO, and that was a wonderful job. It was spiritual for me. And I have come to meet a lot of people, and I started working, as you can say that, not really officially, but working with them with astrology and tarot, and you always start with the family. In this case of this kind of domain, you always start with family and friends and colleagues, and that's how I started. That's how it all started.
And how has your life changed since you shifted from working that corporate job to having a much more spiritually focused business?
Before I worked at that corporate, I worked for 7 years at a museum. It was a part-time job, and I already had time to be creative, to really do what I wanted to do, to start a little bit of the business, but not really officially. And so in the afternoon, I would go to work at the museum. And then I stopped that work and went to a corporate full-time for about not very long. I stayed there for 6-7 months, and I really couldn't stand it anymore. It was really not for me. So yeah, since I have finished that job, I am really in alignment with what I want to do, with what I feel inside of me is true. So there are, of course, difficulties because you just don't quit everything like that and you have everything coming to you just like that also. So yeah, there's a lot of waiting because we have to be patient. And that's something that our society doesn't teach us anymore, to be patient. And that brings a lot of creativity also in me to always try new things. That's one of the things that I always do, is that I try new things. They will succeed or not. I will always learn from it. So that's what I do daily.
Business is such a huge learning experience, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I have a background in international business because that's what I have done as a study. Mm-hmm. But there are some things that I've learned that are helping me now. But yeah, most of all is also my intuition and how I want things to move on the right direction that I think it is.
And what are some of the biggest challenges that you've overcome in building your business?
There's the organizational, because Facebook, well, all the social medias, I just get caught up, and sometimes when I look at my clock, it's been 2 or 3 hours, and yeah. So yeah, that has been a big lesson that I have been learning and trying to organize myself a little bit more on that, and of course, always how to get my message through and to more women, and that's also something that I struggle with still.
And tell me a little bit about your Soul Focus program. You have this really lovely 6 or 8 month Soul Focus program where you work with a variety of things.
Yeah, this is a program. 8 months or 6, it depends on the person who. I think I'm also going to just initiate a 1 month just for people if they want to just have one first contact with me and see if they connect with me a lot more in 1 month, and then we go from there. But yeah, this is a program about 4 levels. There are 4 levels that are going to be personalized to each person, and it's about firstly to women who are not feeling in alignment with what they're doing now, and that means if they are going through struggles in their lives, and that means any type of struggles that can be having to transition from one work to another one, or transitioning from a corporate job to a creative one, transition in relationships, also for people who are dealing with illnesses or there's a lot of address to a lot of type of
issues.
And because the most important thing is to, at least for me, and this is how I work, it is to first to really work a little bit on our past, because we can't really just move forward and to completely erase and forget about everything that has been done before, because they will always come back to us at one moment or another. So it's best to make peace with what was and to move forward. And the program is about that. It is about first addressing your issues, what is not in alignment with you anymore, what comes really all the time, that repeats itself in your life. And then embracing those and accepting that it was that way, but that doesn't mean that's your... because people, we all have stories, and people most of the time they relate to their stories and they become their stories. They become the victims. All of that. So we have our stories. They are very important and foundational for us, for the person that we want to become. but they don't define us. So it is important to address that and to embrace that part. And then, of course, there's the part of healing where there are techniques and ways to heal that part, to be in alignment with that. And then there's the grounding process where everything comes flourishing from that. What new perspectives, what new shifts can you make in life? So yeah, that's mostly, in general, the program itself. It is, there are 16 1-hour personalized sessions. And then there's also the part where I offer Reiki and sophrology. Also, of course, contact with me whenever they want.
I like that. From what it looks like on your website, you also add tarot or card readings.
Yeah. Yes, also.
And so how does that work? Does that come before, after the session? Does that just provide complementary information?
Yeah. So the first session is about astrology mostly. It is, I'm going to look on your path and where you're coming from, where you're going, where do you have skills, and really see where you're coming from and how you can really move forward. And then the next sessions, there's this mentoring coaching part. And then at the end, at the end of each one of the 16, there are a few minutes with getting in touch with intuition through the tarot or oracle.
That's interesting that you bring that up, because on your website you say that you're an intuitive facilitator, and I really, really like that kind of title for yourself. How does intuition play a role in your work with your clients?
That's the big part. There's also this intuition that the people that come to you to work with you are the right people, that they are needing you and you are needing them. You always attract that right client that is also going maybe to help you in an issue, because we all mirror something. That's that part, the first part of intuition. Being a facilitator is, being of service, that's what I really want to be, and that's who I am. The intuition, of course, comes also when I read the tarot and the oracle cards. So there's this being of service to intuition and for intuition, and for the people who are coming to me and being called to work with me.
And do you have any kind of particular kind of common threads between your clients and the issues that they bring to the table when they come to work with you?
Yeah, because also I work with women who are struggling with loss, grief, and that can be someone they loved, but also a part of themselves that they are grieving, or a pregnancy, and all of that. It relates to my own story. And so motherless issues and childless issues also, because I've learned so much from when I lost my mom, and also 2 years ago when I was told that I couldn't have a child for more than 15 years. And then one day it happened that I was pregnant, and 4 months after being pregnant, I had to have an indirect abortion because there was a problem with the child and it was dangerous for us both. So, and that is something, a new way of losing and of losing ourselves again, and accepting that. That doesn't mean that it will not happen again, but we have to let go of that part of maybe. And that depends on where you are in your life. Also, it depends how you see your life, what are your family background that has also maybe molded how we are and how we see things. And that can be hard to, more hard art for you or than for someone else.
On your website, you talk a lot about your mother and how you felt that she was connected to higher knowledge. How do you think that her special connections that she had with spirituality and the spiritual world, how has that shaped you in your life and in your business?
That has always been very present in me. I used to, she cleansed home with with smoke, with the with incense, with herbs that she would burn. She would have some special ways of connecting to God, and all of that has. Even though I was a child, I wasn't really aware of what was, but I knew that there was something special, but at the same time, it was normal.
Yeah.
Years later, when I found out when I read things on earth-based spirituality, I was like, oh yeah, but that's what my mother did. And there's a lot of similarities. And I didn't know about that. Because we wouldn't speak in that way. We wouldn't talk with each other that way. I really believe that she didn't thought it was that way too, because she was a Catholic. Even though she wouldn't go to church, she hadn't had this practice of going to church. But she was connected to Portugal is a very Catholic country. So there's this religion-based. But she was really in between worlds. I don't know, already maybe.
I think a lot of people are. It's like they have the religious upbringing, but then they also have this other alternative kind of connection to the spiritual world.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of people. But then there are people who just don't want to also believe. I don't know. I don't like the word believe, but that don't want to bring that as something that can be real.
So what are your top tips for either women dealing with grief and loss or holistic empowerment, which is another main kind of focus of your website?
I would say that accepting what was and what is one of the big challenges we have, but also we can't really go forward if we don't accept who we are, who we were, the things we've done, what happened. Otherwise, it's not possible. It will always come back to us. It will repeat itself. And sometimes we don't understand why we are living the same relationship again with another person or having the same issues at another job that is completely different. That's a big part. And there's also, I would say, maybe detachment. And that's also a big challenge.
Yes, it is.
Always, all through life, we will learn how to detach ourselves and how to live with that without being detached from the world itself.
Yes.
Because most of the times, when I say this detachment, the first thing that comes is, oh no, I don't want to cut all things from the world that I know, from the people that I know. That has nothing to do with that. It is about seeing things from another perspective, and of course that's challenging and it takes time.
And how do you work with clients to help them become more detached?
There's a lot of talk. There are people need to listen, and that's where it comes from first. Because our world everything is going very fast, and people are not paying attention to anything anymore. And there's also this, and people are feeling empty because they have it all. So there is also this thing about detachment that is about living a more simple life. That is about really looking and seeing, what do we really want this, or do we really need this, and for what? People are not bored anymore. And that's not
too many distractions.
There's distractions everywhere. And when we are bored, we can give birth to creativity. And that doesn't happen anymore. Children also, they are not bored anymore. So, because I always, sadness, being bored, all of that, for me, it's very rich. It's from that, they are seeds that really make us blossom, and that can help us. They are not something that we have to put on a box and forget about it. We can't just be happy just like this and stay in that. Bliss is not something that is permanent. Nothing is permanent. So we have to learn how to be sad so that we can have bliss.
Yes, because it's also, if we don't accept our sadness, and if we don't kind of allow ourselves to become aware of it, then it's like the higher points in life are harder to appreciate because you haven't become aware of that low point.
Yeah, just to first be aware of what we have, where we are, and what is already given us that bliss. I do believe that's a society problem mostly. Most of it all, that's what it is.
And I think that goes back to your perspective of working with people in a holistic way. Because in your blog, for example, you talk a lot about kind of personal things and things that are going on. And I love the way you also blend in astrology and things that are going on in the planets along with your personal perspective on things.
Always. I just can't conceive astrology in any other way. There's world astrology. There are astrologers who work only on a world perspective. They are always, because if we would see now at the moment where we are now, we are going through a square, which is a negative aspect between Uranus and Pluto. And this is what giving us this crisis, this awakening at the same time, this transition moment that we are in. And then we have to relate that also to our own lives, because on a bigger scale, of course, it's happening to the world, but in our birth chart, in our life, it is also happening. And where is it happening? And what I do is that I write about that, about what's going on in my life and in regards to those cycles. And also, I hope that it can relate to other people.
I think it is interesting because I think it gives people an idea of how astrology can kind of blend in with what's going on in their lives and help them to understand what's happening.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Astrology is such a wonderful and amazing tool. I can stay for days watching, reading, talking about astrology and how powerful it is once we have a little bit, just a little insight into what's happening and how that can help us to move forward and to really, it's also so positive. It's also a positive way of looking at life. Even if there are people who think, oh, there are bad planets and it's going to happen bad. No, because it's all about the interpretation and everything that happens bad in a bad way, if you want to say it that way. There's always good, as there is always bad in the good. We just have to stop looking at things from a polarity way of looking at it. It's, polarities are there, but it's all complete. It's all one. It's all, that's also something that I've worked for so many years on that. And now, I can say that I'm at a state of my life where I'm really looking at things so globally. And also it's so important to have that detachment that comes from there, that detachment, so that we can see clearly our lives. It can be a paradox saying this, being global to look more in your life. But it's so, because when we are centered only in what's happening within us, it's we are not seeing all parts, all what's happening around us. We have to look above to see what's happening.
I like that. It helps kind of give you that global perspective and that kind of taking a step back and looking at things from a different angle.
Yeah, definitely. Where we are in the world, and when I say this, people sometimes, oh no, I don't have any role in the world. Of course you have. Stop thinking that it's only local and what's happening to you, it's only happening to you. No, you're touching the people you know, and the people you know will touch others and others and others. It's amazing when we look at things that way. And it's also a way to be connected to what's happening in the world, because what happens in the world, it's our problem also. So, but at the same time, it's wonderful and it's not. But once more, but that's all that that's really my way of thinking, is that everything is connected and it's impossible to just to live in, as you said, in a compartment, and that's impossible. Everything is connected.
Yeah. So how can other women in business benefit from working with you?
If they want to have that perspective, that so that they can change their own lives, because that's so that they can thrive. That's really
Right. Okay. So do you have any women business mentors? Are there any women in business who inspire you?
Yeah, there are women that I really admire. There is one, she's French, but she has a global a business that I think many people will know about. She's called Lilou Massé, and she has a YouTube channel. She's amazing. She travels the world and she interviews people who have a spiritual role or an awakening role to really show us other ways of seeing the world. And it's amazing. She has talked to the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh, yes, Jack Canfield.
Jan Canfield and also Sonia Choquette. I don't know if you know. She has written many books on intuition, and Lilou Massé, definitely. She has a wonderful YouTube channel. Then she has also a YouTube channel, but she's my friend and I love her. She is Joanna DeVoe, and she is a wonderful woman in business. She is teaching other women how to look at their bodies and what they are eating and what they are doing about that. She has a wonderful program called, I think it's From Sad to Sexy. So Joanna DeVoe and Lilou Massé.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will include all of the links to you and to where to find you online in the show notes, but I also wanted to ask you, so that people can hear now, where can people find you online?
So they can find everything at my website, which is holistic-empowerment.com. And from there are links to my Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest maybe, and YouTube.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap this up?
Thank you so much for doing this wonderful show, because I really loved to have listened to all the other women you have interviewed, and it's a wonderful way of spreading such positivity and women who are really taking a stand and really fighting for what they think it's right. And Thank you. That's all.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sofia. And it was such a pleasure to have you on today.
Pleasure was mine. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Socially Holistic Podcast with your host, Holly Wharton. Please help us help more women in business by giving us a 5-star review of this podcast. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more successful businesses there will be. So please leave a 5-star review today over at iTunes. Thank you.